Em thích cái này hơn, pin trâu mà camera đẹp.
Cấu hình cũng mạnh, lấy không em? Để em xem thêm chỗ này nhá.
Cái này cũng được, màu đẹp quá. Hai anh chị chốt mua 2 chiếc điện thoại đôi này.
Dạ, em lấy cho anh chị ngay đây ạ. Cảm ơn em nhé.
Tiện quá hả? Điện thoại này đẹp quá.
Đúng rồi, camera cũng nét chị. Vâng, tính năng xịn lắm.
Muốn nữa.
Alo, nghe được không?
Rồi, nghe rõ luôn. Tốt, điện thoại mới mua ngon thật.
What if a single gift could quietly change someone's entire world? In a small countryside farm where life moves gently with the rhythm of sunrise and sunset, Huyen lives a simple, sheltered life, tending vegetables, selling produce at the local market, and knowing little about the vast world beyond her fields. Watching her from afar, Day admires her sincerity, but longs to open a wider horizon for her. One heartfelt surprise, a simple smartphone, becomes more than a present. It becomes a doorway to connection, discovery, and a future where love and possibility grow side by side.
Heian's life unfolded quietly on a small farm at the end of a dusty country road where mornings began before the sun had fully risen. The first light of dawn would slip gently through her wooden window, painting soft golden streaks across the worn floorboards. She would wake to the familiar sounds of roosters crowing and leaves rustling in the breeze, tie her hair back with a simple ribbon, and step outside into the cool embrace of the early air. The earth beneath her feet was often damp with dew, carrying that rich, comforting scent of soil that she had loved since childhood. To Heian, this scent meant home. It meant safety. It meant another honest day of work. Her routine rarely changed. She fed the chickens, scattering grains with careful hands while they clucked and fluttered around her ankles. She checked on the vegetable bed she had planted herself, rows of green mustard leaves, tomatoes ripening under the sun, and climbing beans wrapping stubbornly around bamboo stakes. Each plant felt like a quiet companion, growing slowly under her patient care. After tending to the garden, she would cut fresh grass for the cows and refill their water, whispering to them softly as if they could understand her thoughts. In many ways, they did. The farm listened when no one else did. Once her morning chores were done, Heian would prepare a modest basket of produce to bring to the local market. The market was small and familiar, filled with neighbors she had known for years. There were no towering buildings, no flashing signs, no hurried strangers, just simple greetings, the exchange of fresh vegetables for a few bills, and gentle conversations about the weather or the harvest. She never lingered long. The outside world felt distant, almost unreal, like something that belonged in stories rather than in her own life. Back at the farm, the afternoons moved slowly. Sometimes she would sit on the wooden steps of her house, listening to an old radio that crackled more than it played. The voices drifting from it spoke of cities she had never seen, of roads filled with cars and lights that shone through the night. Heian would listen quietly, imagining what those places might look like, yet she never felt a strong desire to leave. Her world was contained within the stretch of green fields before her eyes and the endless sky above. As the sun set, painting the horizon in shades of amber and violet, Heian often paused from her work just to watch. The wind would sweep gently across the tall grass, creating waves that shimmered in the fading light. In those moments, she felt a deep, steady peace. She did not measure her life by ambition or adventure, but by the rhythm of seasons and the quiet satisfaction of nurturing something with her own hands. Though her world was small, it was sincere, and within that simplicity, Heian carried a heart that was quietly strong and beautifully untouched by the noise of the wider world. Yet somewhere beyond the quiet rhythm of Huyen's days, there was someone who saw her world not as small, but as precious. Dee had come to understand the poetry hidden in her simplicity, The way she knelt carefully beside each row of vegetables, the way she smiled shyly when customers at her market praised her produce, the way she listened to the old radio as if it were a distant storyteller whispering secrets meant only for her. He admired her deeply, but alongside that admiration grew a gentle concern. Huyen's life was peaceful, yes, but it was also enclosed, like a beautiful garden surrounded by invisible walls. She rarely ventured beyond the farm and the market. She had never learned to use the tools that connected people across cities, across oceans. The modern world moved swiftly outside her horizon, and she remained unaware of how wide and wondrous it truly was. Dee never wanted to change who she was. He loved her simplicity, her grounded spirit, her contentment in small things. But he wondered what might happen if she were given the chance to see more. If the stories from the crackling radio could suddenly become images in her hands, if distant voices could turn into real conversations. He imagined her discovering new farming techniques online, watching videos about places she had only heard mentioned in passing, reading stories written by people from different corners of the world. He imagined her laughter when she realized how much more existed beyond the dusty road that led to her home. Quietly, without telling her, Dee began to prepare a gift. He spent evenings researching, asking friends which phone would be simplest to use, which one had a clear screen and an easy interface. He chose carefully, not the most expensive, not the flashiest, but one sturdy and reliable, just like Huyen. He wanted it to feel less like a complicated machine and more like a gentle doorway. When he finally bought it, he took extra time setting it up. He saved his number in the contacts under his name, added a small heart beside it without overthinking why. He downloaded a few basic applications, messaging, video calls, a weather app so she could check the forecast before attending her crops. As a final touch, he set the wallpaper to a photograph of a sunflower field glowing under a wide blue sky, knowing how much she loved flowers that turned toward the sun. As he held the small box in his hands, Dee felt something deeper than excitement. It was hope. Not hope that she would leave her world behind, but hope that her world would expand gently, naturally, without losing its roots. He imagined the moment he would give it to her, perhaps in the soft light of late afternoon when she returned from the market, her cheeks flushed from the sun. He could already picture her confusion, her hesitation, the way she would protest that she did not need such a thing. But he also trusted her quiet courage. Beneath her simple routines was a heart capable of growth. For Dee, the phone was not merely a device, it was an invitation, a promise that while her feet remained planted firmly in the soil she loved, her mind and spirit would finally have wings.
When the moment finally came, it unfolded exactly as Day had imagined, quietly, beneath the soft glow of a fading afternoon. Huyen had just returned from the market, her woven basket lighter than when she had left that morning, her hands carrying the faint scent of coriander and earth. A thin layer of dust clung to the hem of her trousers, and a few loose strands of hair had escaped her ribbon. She looked tired, but peaceful. Day stood near the wooden fence, the small box carefully hidden behind his back, his heart beating with a nervous excitement he could hardly contain. "Huyen," he called gently. She turned, surprised to see him waiting. "You've been here long?" she asked, brushing her hands together as if embarrassed by the soil still clinging to her palms. "Not long," he replied, smiling. "I just wanted to give you something." Her brows knitted together in confusion. "Give me something? Why?" Instead of answering, he stepped forward and placed the small box into her hands. She looked down at it cautiously, as if it might disappear if she blinked too quickly. Slowly, she opened it. The sleek surface of the phone caught the last rays of sunlight, reflecting a faint golden shimmer onto her face. She froze. "Day, this is too much," she whispered. "I don't know how to use something like this." "You can learn," he said softly. "I'll teach you." She hesitated, her fingers hovering uncertainly above the screen. To Huyen, it felt fragile, almost magical, so different from the rough textures of rope, soil, and wooden baskets she handled every day. Day gently guided her thumb to press the power button. The screen lit up, illuminating her wide eyes. When the sunflower wallpaper appeared, her lips parted in quiet wonder. "It's beautiful," she breathed. "That's not all," Day said, standing beside her. He showed her how to swipe, how to open the phone app, how to tap on his name in the contacts list. A moment later, his own phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and answered dramatically, though he stood only inches away. "Hello," he said playfully. Huyen gasped, then laughed, a clear, bright sound that seemed to ripple across the field like wind through tall grass. It was the first time she had seen something so immediate, so connected. He then showed her how to open the internet browser. Within seconds, images filled the screen, cities glowing at night, oceans stretching endlessly toward the horizon, farmers in distant countries using new methods to harvest crops. Her expression shifted from amusement to awe. The world she had only heard about through the static of an old radio was suddenly vivid and alive. She scrolled slowly, carefully, absorbing each image as though afraid it might vanish. "So this is outside?" she murmured. "Yes," Day answered. "And now it's within your reach." As the sky deepened into shades of violet and blue, Huyen stood there holding not just a device, but a doorway. She realized that she did not have to leave her farm to see the world. She could remain rooted in the soil she loved, tending her crops, walking to the same small market, but her heart no longer felt enclosed. With a single touch, she could learn, explore, and connect. She looked up at Day, her eyes shimmering not with uncertainty now, but with gratitude. "Thank you," she said softly. In that quiet evening light, surrounded by fields and the gentle hum of insects, Huyen understood that the phone was more than a gift. It was trust, it was belief in her ability to grow. And most of all, it was a reminder that even the simplest life can expand in beautiful ways when someone cares enough to open a window to the wider sky.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Live Single RV. Vậy là trong câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì Đệ đã bí mật tặng Huyền một chiếc điện thoại di động mới để cô tiện liên lạc với anh khi anh không ở gần, và cũng là để cô có thêm phương tiện để tiếp xúc với thế giới bên ngoài. Huyền quanh năm chỉ làm việc trong nông trại, cô ít khi ra ngoài tiếp xúc với mọi người, và thậm chí cô còn không sử dụng các loại mạng xã hội. Do đó Đệ rất muốn tặng cô một chiếc điện thoại để cô có thể sử dụng các loại mạng xã hội và để cô mở mang thêm các mối quan hệ với thế giới bên ngoài kia. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện Huyền Đệ sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các câu chuyện sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Live Single RV nhé. Và các bạn cũng đừng quên bấm vào giỏ hàng để mua các sản phẩm của Huyền và Đệ đang bán để ủng hộ Huyền và Đệ nha. Huyền và Đệ cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều vì đã luôn theo dõi ủng hộ họ. Bye bye!